stepping up in an emergency situation. This is great. Thank you. You better listen to me.
What a time, 5 to 7?
Yeah, that was good. Okay, last couple of weeks ago I gave a talk about law school, about how easy it was. And I said I wrote out my final exams for my contracts class before I read the questions. And I'll use the word of the day from last week. Some people were flabbergasted when I said that. Okay. Law school was easy. The exam was easy. Okay. First year's contract class, the only grade you get is from the final exam. It's a 3-credit course. You get a 3-hour test, 1 question. But all the questions from the past are in the library with model answers. And so most students read them, and reading them, you get an understanding. They're all the same. Okay, you're going to have 2 people that somehow communicate with each other. But it's going to be weird. To have a contract, you need an offer, an acceptance, and consideration. Okay. There's going to be something in there that kind of sounds like an offer. There's going to be something in there that kind of sounds like an acceptance. And there's going to be some kind of promise to exchange things back and forth, which is the consideration. Okay, remember what else I said. The answer to any legal question, and why law school is so easy, and being a lawyer is so hard, is because there's only one answer. It depends. Okay, so it's a waste of time to try to answer the question. Because there is no answer. And the questions are all going to be the same. Does David, D for defendant, O, P, Paula, something for breaking the contract? That's going to be the question. Okay. So, and what's the answer? Come on. It depends. Right. So, I forgot about trying to answer the question. And reading all the model answers, came up with the conclusion that there are certain things that have to be in your answer. Okay? A contract consists of an offer, acceptance, and consideration. Okay? You know what a contract is now. In order for there to be an offer, there has to be, and there's a textbook definition of an offer, textbook definition of an acceptance, and textbook definition of consideration. So I said, okay, all this stuff has to be in the answer. And one thing I have is, I think I have a learning disability. Because I'm real bad in memorization. Like in my math class and my science classes, I can't memorize formulas. So I usually figured out how to derive them. Because they're usually related. And people say, how do you know that? Oh, because I have to, because I can't memorize it. Or one other strategy I do, if I couldn't figure out how to derive the thing, I would memorize it just before class, and as soon as the tests were handed out, I'd write it down. So when it came up on the 34th question, I knew it. So I said, okay, I'm going to use the same strategy. So here's what I did on my test. I got in there, handed out the blue book, left about that much space on the top of the first page, and said, in order for David to be responsible to Paula for damages, there must have been a contract. A contract consists of an offer, an acceptance, and consideration. An offer is, an acceptance is, consideration is, and wrote it out. Then I said, okay, there was miscommunications between Paula and David. I said, okay, that might be considered an offer. It depends. If it's not an offer, then there's no contract. And therefore, no contract, no liability. Okay. It might be an offer because, then you just look at it. And you say, how does this look like an offer? And why doesn't it look like an offer? And just explain, just describe it. And then went on to the next thing. And all you have to do is really pick out the issue. You know, if the offer is made in the visiting room of a mental institution, which it might be, then you better talk a little bit about, is the person competent to make an offer? You know, because let's assume that happens in the scenario, and it very possibly could. They're not going to tell you it's the guy that's been institutionalized for 20 years, or if it's the chief psychiatrist of the institution, because there is no answer. It depends. Okay. So that's how I address the answer for the contract question. I got one of 3 A's in a class of 85 people. In my torch class, I got an award for the top answer in the class, again, of about 85 people. Did I ever answer the question? No. Did I even try to answer the question? No. There is no answer other than it depends. And all you have to do is pick up what it depends on. And a lot of people really struggle with that concept. And I think a lot of people have a difficult time with that ambiguity. They want an answer. I'm able to live in a world without answers. Unfortunately, when a client comes in the door, and one of the questions they usually ask, oh, how long is this going to take and how much does it cost? Okay, typical thing in a lawsuit or a divorce is a lot like a project and anything else. It is a project. And people in a project want to know how long and how much. My answer is, it depends. Okay, it could take a month, cost $1,000. Oh, your kids are about a year old. Okay, it could take 17 years, and it could cost $100,000. It totally depends on the situation. Thank you.